On this episode of Star Trek Universe, we are talking about the unprecedented second, Star Trek pilot where no man has gone before, right after these words from our mystery sponsors. Welcome into Star Trek Universe. This week we are continuing our journey of introducing young Effie Uphelders to Star Trek episode by episode. I'm David C. Robertson.
I am Effie Uphelders, and I'm very glad to still be called young. I'm dealing with the gravity of my oncoming birthday, so it's good to still, remember that people are also much, much older out there.
Yeah, no, you're -3. You're fine. You are an infant.
Life begins at 30. Okay, gotcha.
You are coming to us from inside of a womb. You're fine.
It's pretty warm in here. It's nice. It's cozy. Bit wet, but other than that,
Glub. So we're talking about this second pilot where no man has gone before. It's really crazy that no one ever says, let's do another pilot. But they did.
It's not something that happens, no. But glad they got there.
Yeah,
they saw some promise, as did we, I guess.
Yeah, and I actually I think I like the Cage better than this one.
Same, yeah.
But they didn't have to the Cage was the most expensive episode of the original series ever made. It was like $613,000. I'm pretty sure they looked at the production and said, okay, so much of that was like building sets and stuff. Why don't we just do another one to make sure we don't want it? Because we like
that's fair. That's
some of it.
A bit of return on the investment would be nice. Yeah. We're already down the drain on this. Yeah. All that money. Ugh.
So, the Memory Alpha summary: an encounter at the limits of our galaxy begins to change Lieutenant Commander Gary Mitchell and threatens the future of the Enterprise and the human race itself. This is our first dalliance with William Shatner as James T. Kirk.
Indeed.
Or actually, James R. Kirk, as the headstone said.
Oh, right. I see these details I would never notice to be wrong, because I'm just like, sure, that must be him. There's dates on there that I'm sure make sense.
No, when I was a teenager, that stuff like that was, making me on the verge of self-harm. Like, I could not handle continuity errors.
No.
Like, it really bothered me that stuff like that was going on. So...
Yeah, no, well, I'm glad you got over that.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I mean,
put down the knife, Dave. Put down...
I am actually holding a knife because it's a relatively quiet fidget device, but... Yeah, no,
these are visual gags you cannot appreciate on a podcast.
Yeah. When I was a kid, it bothered me, but yeah, you can just kind of be like, it was an inside joke or something,
Yeah, exactly. R for... What is his middle name, by the way?
His middle name is Tiberius.
Sure. That might as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know.
However, like Peter David, you know him from comics, I know. Peter David wrote a book where he mentioned, it was like made canon in an extended universe novel, that R was for racquetball because Kirk beat him in racquetball. Because Kirk and Mitchell were friends. So it was an inside joke, know.
Cute.
And then I think Michael J. Freeman... Even
as a god, you gotta have some fun.
Yeah, Michael J. Freeman in one of his line of books said it was something else, and I don't remember what, but... yeah. There's all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, there's always an excuse. You can headcanon your way out of the craziest of corners.
Mm-hmm. So what do you really love about this episode? Let me ask you that.
I think mostly the actor for Gary Mitchell.
Gary Lockwood, yeah, he was great.
Yeah, Sure. He was actually named Gary. That's confusing. Sure. The Gary.
The Gary.
He was such a creep. He was very good at that sort of that look, but also that physicality, the way he was standing when he especially when he stood back up from losing his powers momentarily from draining the force field. Just that way he presented himself to be very distant, that was really nice and creepy. And as in general, I found the whole episode to be very tense still. It was a bit on the ironically enough, we talked about the previous pilot being too cerebral according to the network. I wrote down that I found this one to be slightly more cerebral than I remembered the other one being. I did rewatch the other one after, but so I was like, oh no, yeah, there's still it's fairly similar, but it's a lot less horny at least. You know, that's
kind of.
Dang it. Like, yeah, it's mostly just the really that tension of you don't know what he's gonna do. He's really unpredictable. There is a quality of you don't know what his next set of powers are gonna be, like what is gonna happen, and that's just brilliantly set up by the fact that a previous ship was destroyed just to prevent anything else happening, and it really builds very nicely on that to get you both curious and just very invested in finding out what is up with this pink cloud that gives you powers, I guess.
That is actually the galactic barrier.
Of course, there's a name for it.
Yeah, there are two galactic barriers. There's one on the outside of our galaxy in Star Trek lore, and there's one at the center.
Of what? Of everything?
Of our galaxy.
Okay, sure.
It's just the Milky Way galaxy.
And then, okay, sure. Okay, I'm sure that makes sense. Good to know.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if I had ESP, I would know where to go. But it's fun to deal with flawed gods, and it is a bit. It felt more cerebral, I think, to me because there is less action spread out, and it's mostly towards the end where it really becomes just a let's blast some shit, let's drop some rocks. Like, yeah. Then it becomes that, and up to that point, it's less. It's just sort of postponed. It's not as mixed in as in the cage where it was more sprinkled throughout, where they go back and forth, and then there's lasers and then we go back to the illusions. And here it's very much like, oh yeah, eventually we do have to kill him, but most of it, and I think the strongest part of the episode is just figuring out, like, yeah, what do you do with this person that's just exponentially growing stronger into unknown territories of omnipotence. It really goes from ESP to telekinesis to rearranging matter and creating shit out of nothing. Yeah. So yeah, it's the eyes were cool though. I would like some context like that. Yeah, sparkly.
Well, Gary Lockwood and Sally Kellerman hated those contacts, and they were.
I figured, because there were some shots where it was very clear that he was like almost crying, just like red puffy eyes, and I was like, oh, those must not be fun to wear.
Yeah,
but yeah, they probably weren't soft lenses, no.
Yeah.
Jeez. Because there were just some shots where I was like, are his eyes still sparkly? Because he was like squinting so bad, and I was like, oh, this is not comfortable for a close-up.
No. I really enjoy this episode, one, because it is very unlike all of the rest of the original series. Their uniforms are different, but still different from the cage. They're not wearing the same uniforms.
Yeah, nope.
But we still have...
because you've been promising me short skirts, and I'm like, there's still pants? And
I know! Nope. The women are still in pants. Which I like that design better. I love the design.
Yeah, I'm fine with that on principle. I'm just like, okay, this is going to take a while.
You're like, I was sold a bill of goods.
I'm not here for the skirts necessarily, but they're a nice bonus.
Yeah, but the ladies of the Enterprise don't look bad, and they're still kind of
Nope.
tight sweaters. They got the great the great giant turtlenecks. If anything, watching it now, I kind of feel like they're gonna go and get a pumpkin spice latte or something. Like they look a bit basic for us, but I like I like the style. I love how everybody has turtlenecks.
They're nice slacks. Yeah.
Everybody has turtlenecks in Star Trek. Love it. I love the giant turtlenecks. I don't know why, but I do.
Good on you.
Already out of the gate, like first scene, I am loving Spock and Kirk's chemistry.
Yeah.
Like
They're
yes, one of
the
your
chess,
Earth emotions. Yeah.
Yes. It's a very easy way to set up just the whole conceit of the character of Spock, and you get it, and it's very fun to immediately undercut that, where it's like, oh, you're sure you don't know what annoyance is like? You're not irritated? No.
Yeah.
He played most illogically. Yeah, they're very fun.
And I really love because we see so little of it. It's nice to have like some of the backstory filled in a bit, where Mitchell is saying, we used to say you were a stack of books with legs. They'd say
it provides that character building for Kirk, as well as just setting him up as, oh, we've been friends for so long, so you actually give a damn when bad shit happens to him.
Yeah, like.
It's just, again, good writing. Yeah.
Yeah. In Lieutenant Kirk's class, you either think or sink. I love this idea that Kirk was like, Lieutenant Kirk was a very serious instructor who demanded excellence from everyone. But I also, love that that Mitchell admits, like, oh yeah, I outlined this girl's whole campaign so that she would distract you, so you'd be easier on us in class.
Oh my god, yeah. You set that up. I almost married her.
Yeah. For Kirk's first appearance, already setting him up as the serial monogamist he is, as opposed to the relentless horn dog he's later played out to be amongst the fandom. But
yeah, because you've told me about that, and I'm indeed excited to see in how far this idea matters. Because at this point, it's very much like, oh, he's a serial monogamist. He might not be good at staying alone, but who is?
It's tough.
It's hard out there. No, you live and you learn to. Live and die alone.
Yeah. We've had several conversations, and that's one of those examples where it bothers me that, like, fan entitlement, like fan misconception, and like the concept of the masses, like basically everyone just assumes, like, oh yeah, Kirk's just like a horn dog. He has sex every episode. No, he very much does not. Like,
it's just apparently everything everyone remembers, but like there's so much more, and
there's a lot.
That's very interesting, because I do have that sort of vague feeling with it, and so far I'm not seeing it. So
yeah, it's just
that reputation preceding any sort of informed, and then you're there with the stats of like, nah, he kissed a couple times, it's fine.
Yeah, 18 times in 79 episodes. That's but. It's one of those things where it was like, Batman never kills until Zack Snyder took over. I'm like, he killed constantly before Zack Snyder did anything. Like,
yep. Zack Snyder just wasn't ashamed of it. But
Cavill's Superman killed Zod. So did Reeves. So let's
people really know how to get mad at everything.
It's just one of those little bugaboos where fans decide this is a thing.
Maybe they just really like to, envision themselves as having far less self-restraint than Kirk actually did. Maybe it has something to do with that type of looking up to the character in the way like, oh, I want to, place myself in their shoes and be like, oh, I would be that type of womanizer. And it's like, A, you wouldn't, and B, it wasn't what the show was about. Maybe you were looking at the wrong things. You know? It sort of gives off that vibe to me where I'm like, yeah, I'm not seeing it either. It's not what the fun is about.
It's a little bit like, like the redneck Christians who are like, well, man, I'll tell you this. It's like the Bible says. Jesus said, rose by any other name. And I'm like, that's Shakespeare, you idiot. Like, just because you read the King James Version doesn't mean that Shakespeare is the Bible.
Yep.
I saw an SNL parody one time where Kirk was kissing a woman. So that means it was true. No, sorry.
So close. So close.
Yeah.
Usually SNL is not the best informative television you could find. It's not quite CNN.
Yeah. I knew we were in trouble when they were like literally quoting Tina Fey and saying it was Sarah Palin, and I was like, I mean,
rough.
She does look a lot like her. She does a really good job impersonating her, but this is
no, honey, no. Oof.
Yeah,
different people. I hope at least for her sake.
Most of the time.
But there's talking about Spock, there is that moment at the end as well, the I felt for him too, which just nicely sets up that there's feelings there and there's something complicated going on, and it's just a nice touch of that character that has yet to grow and evolve. And there is it also returns to that sort of emotions means living, means humanity thing that was also really present in the cage, and I think really informed that sort of version of Spock we've come to know. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out for him.
Oh yeah, and it's interesting to look at it and realize that he was smiling in the cage. In the cage, he was screaming, "The women!" Because at the time he wasn't emotionless. They didn't intend him to be. He wasn't that character. Yeah. And then once they got rid of number one, they kind of merged those, like her cold, calculating, super smart character with his alien stuff. I mean, but right out of the gate, in this one, his definition of, what was the word now? Irritating? Was the fact that one of his ancestors married a human female. And Kirk says, terrible, having bad blood like that. But,
must really suck. Oh.
If you've seen the Abrams movies, you know that it's not one of his ancestors. It's his dad. It is his ancestor, but it is his dad. His mom is literally human. So
I remember. Yeah.
But yeah, I like this idea that we have Kirk saying, "Can you try just for a moment to feel?" And he did feel. He's just like, okay, so Boo gone crazy. You gonna have to take him out. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, he's gonna
make the difficult choice. This is the moral dilemma before you. Either he dies or we all do. And,
you can leave him on a planet, but he's probably going to start popping planets like zits in a couple months. So you're probably going to need to kill him.
Yeah. And I love that Gary, it was immediately just like, yeah, I agree. You should, because that's your only option here. And he's doing it to like make it harder for Kirk, of course. So it's manipulative, but it's just well done. It's well executed. It's just a slightly different vibe. It felt a little less playful or something.
Yeah. When he tells me you should have killed me when you could, he follows that up with one of my favorite lines in the episode: "Command and compassion are a fool's mixture."
Yeah, that was like, oh, there's a theme here about having like what it's like being the captain of this ship, what you should be like, and that again, that logic versus emotion of like, oh, you should make the right choice even though you care for this person, because eventually it's gonna still turn out that the guy needs to die.
Yeah, and some of the themes that play here, kind of make me wish that the people, we were just talking about Thor: Love and Thunder before we started recording, And
Yeah.
it made me start thinking about this episode in that way, where I was like, God, I wish some of the writers of Love and Thunder maybe would have watched this episode of Star Trek, because you have like stuff like Gary Mitchell saying morals are for men, not gods, and Kirk screaming, God needs compassion, Mitchell. Like,
Yeah. God should not have human flaws. That whole idea that is very much what it's about, and that immediately begs the question: what is a god, and how does that relate? What should you indeed be doing, and why would it not work to just give anyone this type of immense power?
Yeah, and I love that, like, even as they like have the action in the last act of the show, you have this tumult, and then he's got Kirk on his knees. He's like, "Time to pray, Captain. Pray to me."
Scary shit. Like, just the way he can move him about. I love puppetry. It's just an easy way of making something creepy as fuck.
But like, as Kirk is like struggling and like having to put his hands together and whatnot, he's like questioning everything Mitchell's saying. He's like, "To you, not to both of you." He's like,
"Yeah." They're playing them.
Yeah, he's
there will be one jealous god left standing, and
yes, there will only be one of you in the end. One jealous god. If all this makes a god, or is it making you something else? Like, dude, like that is like they're doing some really good, like they have some really good questions in there while they're in the middle of this like big action sequence. That I was like,
they still keep the talking going, and that elevates it. Speaking of one of them making it, like I wasn't entirely sure why she died. Besides the fact that they probably didn't want Kirk shooting her, but just generally, I was like, was she still drained from fighting him and then died, or?
I think she was draining herself, killing him or taking him out enough, and he was zapping her as well. So she lived long enough to
see that everything was fine-ish. Yeah,
say some shit and die. Like, and I loved what she said too. It was like, you have no idea what it's like to almost be a god. Yeah. Like, yeah, I loved it. I love this episode. This is one of the ones I've watched over and over and over and over.
Wow.
And one of my favorite bits is like, as he's like going through the Enterprise computers, like just reading, and they're watching him on the bridge, and he just stops
increasingly fast
and looks at the screen.
At the camera. Yes.
Oh God.
Oh. That's so good. It is, and that's what I'm saying. It does the tense and scary stuff really well. Where I'm just like, oh, this is very unsettling. Like, it's so much more enjoyable to me than any sort of horror flick where I'm like, yeah, okay, we're gonna get jump scares and I'll jump, and is that truly scary? Oh, you made a loud sound in my face, so I guess, but. This is the type of tension where I'm way more uncomfortable because it lasts, and I enjoy that. It just tells me that they're doing something right in terms of making him a question mark that is hard to know what to do with and what is going to happen to him and what he will do to us. I was sort of like her, Elizabeth Denner, the psychiatrist. I was sort of confused by her purpose in the episode, beside being eventually like turning and also having the ESP sort of biological disposition for this specific type of evolution, I guess. But I don't know. She sort of felt. I wasn't entirely sure where she was going, why we needed a psychiatrist. It felt a little contrived what she was even researching. Besides that we needed someone to sympathize with him, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, there was some purpose for her being there because he mentions it at the beginning, and I never remember what it is, even after I watch it, because I just kind of forget to think about it.
That's what I'm trying to think of, because I'm like, oh, she was trying to research like the psychological impact of a crisis situation on the ship's personnel or something to that effect. Where it's like, if there is an emergency, I would love to, study the people panicking or something. That's what it boiled down to, I think.
Yeah, something like that. I just never remember, and it's not uncommon in Star Trek for them to bring on, some rando who's like a guest star of the week, who's like, this is blah blah
needs an
in the
to be here.
In the exobiology department, and and then they date Chekhov or something, and something happens. Enough. But I did like that she was that she and Mitchell were high on the Esper rating, and that there was some reason for her being there. I know there was. I just never remember like exactly what it was. I've seen this a million times. It doesn't matter. It's like
no, it's exactly that's probably my thing where I'm like, oh yeah, this I should apparently just go with this. And then in hindsight, I'm like, why was she there besides being another ESP person? An Esper. It's
it says here. It says Piper introduces new psychiatrist Elizabeth Daner, who came aboard the vessel back at the Aldebaran colony to, I don't know how to say it, to study the long-term effects of space travel on the crew. So apparently, like,
okay,
there are people on the ship who will come on to study a thing, and they're just like doing their shit. They don't report.
Fair enough.
They don't do all this stuff, and then because they had that recorder from the Valiant, and it was destroyed, right. Maybe she could like help in like deciphering like what on the recording, because Spock is like, I must have read it wrong. Sounds like he said to destroy his ship. So that it certainly seemed like the people on the Valiant had some sort of mental breakdown from something in space.
Yeah. No, it makes sense for it to show up then, but it's I think what I meant is she's sort of half being a romantic interest to the Gary and
the Gary.
Other than I'm just it just cracks me up that the guy is actually Gary, and they named a character Gary, and it's just it's eternally Gary. I'm getting so off track, but or on track, I guess. But yeah, other than that, I felt like the conversations between her and him in the med bay didn't necessarily like add a whole lot. It was like I wasn't sure why she kept trying to get close to him. Like, why was she so empathetic besides already being infected, for lack of a better term, herself, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that is what it was. Like, it was just, out of all the people who by the way, this apparently is the highest death rate on the Enterprise.
Oh.
Between Daner
like, there's a bunch of them, yeah.
Yeah, between Daner and Mitchell, like 9 other people got killed. And Kelso got strangled.
The episode opens. Yep. Yeah, that one surprised me too, where I was like, oh, he's gone too. Sure. Well played. That's what you do if you want to escape, I guess.
It should have been called Where No Man Has Ever Gone Again.
Bomb planet that never happened. That was interesting.
What?
I'm sorry. Yeah, there was the Chekhov's push a button and the half the planet, the valley blows up. That actually didn't happen, which was interesting.
Well, he's Kelso. Yeah. He's Kelso. You said Chekhov, and I got confused.
Oh, sorry. No, I meant Chekhov as in Chekhov's gun.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
So I was like,
there's literally a character named Chekhov coming.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I haven't really. Yeah. Sorry. No, I meant the gun, proverbially, as in the that they're like, let's make sure we can blow up half this planet to make sure they're dead, and then that's not even necessary because a rock fell on them. Nice.
Yeah, but yeah, I do. I really love that. Kind of both of these episodes, both the Cage and Where No Man Has Gone Before, deal so much with like the frailty of human existence and how we can slip into these terrible versions of ourselves and how we're tempted by things like power. And it has that nice sad ending of like, let's keep his record clean just to honor the man who was gone at some point, because it is that sort of gradual. You don't know how much of it is him or the same person anymore, and how much is just the Dr. Manhattaning of it all, where he just loses touch with reality and starts talking about squashing bugs and
yeah, as soon as you're calling other people vermin, I'm just like, okay, this is some eugenics shit, like, yeah, and that, because there is sort of that almost a Magneto balance as well, where it's like, oh no, we're evolving beyond humanity, so
Yeah.
you all don't matter anymore. I'm just referencing comics left and right now. It's a recurring theme, I guess.
I mean, that's what I do on this show, so it works.
Good to know. It's again, I have not listened to a lot of this podcast because I would not know what the hell you're going on about. It would have been like, okay, we're 2 seconds in and you name Memory Alpha. Sure, that's something. And I'm just gonna roll with it until I run into what that's from.
Memory Alpha in the Star Trek universe is like the largest database of bullshit in the universe. It's like a literal place in the Star Trek universe, and it's just like it's like a huge library full of information from all over the place. Memory Alpha, sense. Because of that, they named the wiki. Yeah, but it is like one of the most intensely detailed and cataloged wikis I have ever read. I can get lost on Memory Alpha for hours and hours and hours and hours. Like, I have wasted days just like going down rabbit trails. And they have, because there's such an extensive extended universe with books and comics, they have Memory Beta as well.
Nice.
And you can get really deep into the rabbit hole.
Of course you could. Yeah. No, I know that. I'm not sure if it's this wiki, but I know a friend of mine I visited on Sunday. She's also she's older. She's also into Star Trek, and I remember her telling me about having been like an editor or contributor or something on some sort of wiki, just going over all of the species and stuff and translating to Dutch and stuff like that. So there's a lot out there. I'm scared to look into, but will eventually understand more of.
Yeah, I mean, at this juncture, you're looking at about 900 episodes, give or take.
Fair enough.
It's gotten up there.
I hope to live for another 900 hours, so, we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, I don't know that I have that much more on this episode. The trivia wasn't very interesting to me, but they made another one.
No one needs. Sorry?
I just said the trivia is they made another pilot.
Fair enough. Yeah, okay, good. We know that much. No one needs disinteresting trivia.
Yeah.
But no, my notes were also less extensive. Of course, I was watching it for the first time, so I was mainly just absorbed in the episode, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I think we've covered it pretty well. Where it's just what we thought. It was a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Overall,
I was entertained.
This was a fantastic one. It was the first time we see Scotty, James Doohan, as I believe he was called Engineer. And by the next episode, he'll actually be Montgomery Scott, Chief Engineer.
Okay.
And a shiny red shirt. So,
this is in this pilot indeed was not the proverbial red shirts. There's just a bunch of colors dying. So
yeah. And we met Sulu, who will be, basically at the front of the bridge next time. He was the guy in the blue shirt. George Takei. Mm-hmm. He was there, and he was like, the math says that, Mitchell's power will increase exponentially, or whatever it was.
That's him. Okay. Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a smattering of the crew to come.
Yeah, exactly. They're all gonna have to be fleshed out, and I'm looking forward to getting to know more of them. Whereas now it was just, wait, that guy had an accent, and God knows what his name is, which is fine to start a pilot with.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know. I'm just kind of glancing around again and just saying, is there anything?
Just seeing if there's more trivia that are actually
Not really.
Oh, well, next time.
I mean, there's a lot of trivia, but it's all boring. It's just
nobody needs that.
They painted the ship's doors red this time.
I mean, podcast listeners could just look up the wiki if they want boring trivia. Like they can go for it. They know how to get there. I'm sure most of them can Google.
I encourage it, but I'm not here for that. I'm only trying to I don't know, make for good conversation.
Yeah. Well, you're doing good at that. Like that's all I need from you, really. Otherwise, I'm kind of talking into the void. That would be a shame.
Right. That would be sad. How? I think
this, however, is far less sad.
What is?
Oh, two people
talking to me.
No, you make me watch Star Trek and like having a podcast about it. There's probably people who would still consider doing a Star Trek podcast relatively sad, but
yeah,
the void is eternally more sad.
I don't know. I think you might be better off with the void.
I don't think so. I disagree. I will continue to point out your worth to you, and you're just gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah, I think if you were driving along the street and if just a person was driving along and they looked over and they saw you as like a bag lady with like a grocery cart full of like trash bags full of like deodorant and shit, and you were just muttering to yourself, they would be like, oh. But then if they like looked on their phone and they're like, oh, there's a podcast and Effie's talking to this guy about Star Trek, they'd be like, Jesus, that's sad. Like, I think the void.
I get what you mean. But also, do we measure sadness in terms of how much empathy we get for it?
I think so. I think that's what Star Trek has taught us, right?
Yeah, but then wouldn't I want more? Then wouldn't I want more empathy? I think we're just going to continue the podcast and see if we ever figure this out.
I was trying to decide, which one would get you more empathy? Like, I think maybe talking to the void would get you more empathy, but talking to me would get you more disgust.
I'll deal with that on my own time. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, what are your friends going to say when they're like, "Oh my God, you're doing a Star Trek
presume
podcast?"
I have friends. Like,
I don't know. I imagine your friends. I imagine your friends as like, I don't know, trendy metropolitan types. I don't know.
This is very interesting. I need to. Yeah. No, sure. I'll go with that. I mean, our metropoles are not the size they are in America, so
Right, of course. Yeah, but
we're very trendy.
Whenever you have a party, you all wear like the buildings on your heads, like in Batman Returns, and you all just quote the same thing about mistletoe being poison if you eat it. Yeah,
it's that and wooden shoes. That's all we do here.
And wooden shoes.
Yeah. I actually had to take them off because they would show up on recording otherwise. So, but normally they're it's the way we get around.
Is it the sabot?
The what?
The sabot. I don't know.
I don't know. I'm missing the joke now. Damn it.
There's not a joke. It kind of is, but there's this line. There's this line in a future Star Trek movie where they said the workers threw their wooden shoes sabot into the machinery, hence the word sabotage. And I always remember that whenever anyone says anything about wooden shoes, which comes up kind of a lot for me for some reason.
Apparently.
I remember Kim Cattrall as a Vulcan talking about the workers throwing their sabot into the machinery. Yes, it was Samantha as a Vulcan.
Sure.
Just like that.
I have no idea where that story comes from. It's not the Dutch word for them, at least. So, I know that much.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know if that's French or something for it, but,
I don't know if
I've never looked into the etymology of sabotage, so.
Sabot Valeris. I don't know. Sabot.
Sabbath?
S-A-B-O-T.
Oh, sabot.
It says, Lieutenant Valeris describes a false etymology of the word sabotage.
See? Nonsense. Science fiction.
She said 400 years ago on the planet Earth, workers who felt their livelihood threatened by automation flung their wooden shoes called sabots into the machines to stop them. Hence the word sabotage.
Yeah, that smelled like nonsense, but
yeah,
because wooden shoes are they're klompen, which is not even close to sabot, or no.
They're called what?
Klompen.
Glumpa? Klumpa.
Klomp. It's a K at the front.
Okay, klumpa.
Now it just sounds like Oompa Loompa. It's a short O.
You know what I was thinking? That is the noise that is heard when you throw your wooden shoes into the machinery to stop the automation.
Yeah, fair. Industrialization has really, really screwed us all out of our wooden shoes, I guess. How do we get onto this topic? We should close.
I don't know, but I feel like Weird Al now. Like I want to make I want to make a parody of Elvis Costello's the red shoes. You know, the angels want to wear my red shoes, but now with wood shoes. Wood shoes. I'm going away.
That works.
Now. So glad you're still enjoying Star Trek.
Yeah. We'll see if I still do next time.
Yeah.
Is this an exciting cliffhanger?
Yeah. Everyone watch the Corbomite maneuver, because that's what we're going to be covering next time on Star Trek Universe. I don't know if that's true. It might be me and Matt doing another thing, but me and Effie are doing the Corbomite maneuver next.
Exactly. It's really all that counts for me. So now I know what we're doing next.
Yeah. Corbomite maneuver. Also, I think I sent you that file with the list.
Yeah, you did. Don't worry. I didn't know it from the top of my head. I know. We have a list.
I just want to make sure.
Yeah, don't worry.
All right. Like I say, STUcast on Twitter, and we're on Facebook, Star Trek Universe Podcast, Star Trek Universe, whatever. STUcast@gmail.com. If you want to leave us feedback, just do it. Just make sure you do like the TOS rewatch with Effie feedback differently than the new episodes reviews that I'm doing with Matt. And I got distracted folding a thing on my desk.
That makes a lot of sense. That explains everything. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
I was starting to get worried there.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to bring up real quick before closing it out, the thing that made me laugh hysterically, and always does, is Kirk saying to Dr. Dana, "Nobody but us chickens, Doctor."
Yeah, that is a good line out of context. It was odd in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, even in context, because she's just like,
there's not enough context to make this work. No,
she's like, there's not a soul on this planet but us. Nobody but us chickens, Doctor. Which that's the thing my mom used to say, where she's like, nobody but us chickens. You know, that was just a thing you said. Like, ain't nobody here but us chickens.
No, see, here I go. Not quite being on a native speaker level. These are the things that are just weird to me.
But, you know, you usually say it with some...
Still.
Yeah. You usually say it with some mirth. You're like, nobody but us chickens. Like, you're just joking around. Like, but he says it so seriously.
So, it's deadpan. Yeah, it's just...
Yeah.
He's like... the straight face. Yeah.
He's like staring off into the mid-distance, and he's just like, nobody but us chickens.
It was a nice backdrop again. Yeah.
It was. Great matte painting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So, anyway. That's it. Joel Untrue. Live long and prosper. Clean your undercarriage.
Sounds good. Yeah. Do take care of that. Bye.
Later.
Thank you for listening to the Star Trek Universe Podcast, a Stranded Panda production. If you'd like to hear more from David C. Robertson, check out the DC On Screen podcast or maladjusted.tv for his web videos. If you'd like to hear more from Matthew Carroll, check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast or listen to his music. Just search for Matthew Carroll anywhere you get music.